In 1865, as commanding general, Ulysses S. Grant led the Union Armies to victory over the Confederacy in the American Civil War. As an American hero, Grant was later elected the 18th President of the United States, 1869 to 1877, working to implement Congressional Reconstruction and to remove the vestiges of slavery.
The friend in my adversity I shall always cherish most. I can better trust those who help to relieve the gloom of my dark hours than those who are so ready to enjoy with me the sunshine of my prosperity. My failures have been errors in judgment, not of intent. In every battle there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten, then he who continues the attack wins. I have made it a rule of my life to trust a man long after other people gave him up, but I don't see how I can ever trust any human being again. No other terms than unconditional and immediate surrender. I propose to move immediately upon your works. I suffer the mortification of seeing myself attacked right and left by people at home professing patriotism and love of country who never heard the whistle of a hostile bullet. I pity them and the nation dependent on such for its existence. I am thankful, however, that, though such people make a great noise, the masses are not like them. I appreciate the fact, and am proud of it, that the attentions I am receiving are intended more for our country than for me personally. Everyone has his superstitions. One of mine has always been when I started to go anywhere, or to do anything, never to turn back or to stop until the thing intended was accomplished. Leave the matter of religion to the family altar, the church, and the private school, supported entirely by private contributions. Keep the church and state forever separate. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition and ignorance on the other. The great bulk of the legal voters of the South were men who owned no slaves, their homes were generally in the hills and poor country, their facilities for educating their children, even up to the point of reading and writing, were very limited. Their interest in the contest was very meager. What there was, if they had been capable of seeing it, was with the North. They too needed emancipation. Let us labor for the security of free thought, free speech, pure morals, unfettered religious sentiments, and equal rights and privileges for all men, irrespective of nationality, color, or religion. Leave the matter of religious teaching to the family altar, the church, and the private school, supported entirely by private contribution. Keep church and state forever separate. Generally the officers of the Army were indifferent whether the annexation of Texas was consummated or not, but not so all of them. For myself, I was bitterly opposed to the measure, and to this day regard the war, which resulted, as one of the most unjust ever waged by a stronger against a weaker nation. It was an instance of a republic following the bad example of European monarchies, in not considering justice in their desire. How do people come up with a date and a time to take life from another man? 12 white men say a black man must die, and another white man sets the date and time without consulting one black person. They sentence you to death because you were at the wrong place at the wrong time, with no proof that you had anything at all to do with the crime. Yet 6 months later they come and unlock your cage and tell you, we, us, white folks all, have decided it's time for you to die, because this is the convenient date and time. The cause of the Great War of the Rebellion against the United States will have to be attributed to slavery. For some years before the war began it was a trite saying among some politicians that a state half slave and half free cannot exist. All must become slave or all free, or the state will go down. I took no part myself in any such view of the case at the time, but since the war is over, reviewing the whole question, I have come to the conclusion that the saying is quite true. Oh, I am heartily tired of hearing about what Lee is going to do. Some of you always seem to think he is suddenly going to turn a double somersault, and land in our rear and on both of our flanks at the same time. Go back to your command, and try to think what are we going to do ourselves, instead of what Lee is going to do. The natural disposition of most people is to clothe the commander of a large army whom they do not know, with almost superhuman abilities. A large part of the National Army, for instance, and most of the press of the country, clothed General Lee with just such qualities, but I had known him personally, and knew that he was mortal, and it was just as well that I felt this. There are many men who would have done better than I did under the circumstances in which I found myself. If I had never held command, if I had fallen, there were 10,000 behind who would have followed the contest to the end and never surrendered the Union. The right of revolution is an inherent one. When people are oppressed by their government, it is a natural right they enjoy to relieve themselves of oppression, if they are strong enough, whether by withdrawal from it, or by overthrowing it and substituting a government more acceptable.
We make videos for you with great effort. Just one request is to subscribe to the channel and like the videos. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed.